it's really getting into this mindset of like video as sales enablement, not just marketing. Because marketing is like, all right, we need to go viral. Let's get really good at like hooks and things that grab people's attention. But really, have you ever heard a roofer that went viral that like his business exploded? Or is it mostly just glamour metrics? To me, if we think about it as sales enablement, whereas we're making these videos that answer the top objections that people have in the sales process, we're walking through our clear process and making it super simple, which are the key questions that people have in the sales process, then you have an opportunity.
From humble beginnings, Insurance Claim HQ has grown to one of the largest property casualty firms in the country. We didn't do it alone, and you shouldn't either. Every week, we're talking to claims professionals and top experts from all over, all to help you grow your business and make you stronger. Let's level up together. I'm Galen Hare. Welcome to the Level Up Claims Podcast. In storm restoration, trust is everything. But standing out in a crowded, skeptical market, that's tough. Most pros know video can help, but they think they need expensive gear, a perfect script, or worse, to be someone that they're not. The truth? You already have what you need in your pocket. Today's guest, Tim Brown, is the CEO of Hook Agency, and he's an expert at helping roofing contractors, as well as HVAC and plumbers, create video content that actually converts, no studio required. Let's get into it. Tim, thank you so much for joining us. How you doing today?
Doing really well. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, I'm pumped for our conversation. So we're going to start with content creation, but before we do that, let's learn a little bit more about you. What got you into marketing?
Yeah, so I went to school for web design, but I've actually been learning about marketing before all that. I think the first couple books I read were Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell and Purple Cow by Seth Godin, basically about how to stick out and be different. And I think started to read like the Gary Vaynerchuk books as I was going through college, and went to college a little late and graduated a little late. I was doing like a lot of like service jobs and stuff like that. And as I got into marketing, I realized actually my energy went really far. You know, sometimes you're in a type of job where you're not excited about it and you're not good at it. So you're just kind of bad. And then as I started to get into marketing, I realized I was pretty good at this. I really like it. And it was fun. And people gave me money. So that was a crucial piece. And all of that kind of compounded. I went to work for somebody else that did marketing while I was designing websites. And then I got to be their marketing director, got to go out on my own eventually. When my side hustle started to make more money than my salary. And we slowly niched into contractors, and that was a whole journey too. But it was really around where did the things that we were uniquely good at, who found the most value in them. And so just that testing and trying things and seeing who wants this. And I felt like we were custom ordered for roofing in a lot of ways. And we've since added HVAC and plumbing, but we were ordered basically. That's how I feel about it. We were ordered because they just wanted what we had, we were good at, and they kept on asking for more. So now we have like 90 roofing clients and, 18 HVAC companies, and we're just kind of starting a little bit more with plumbing. But yeah, that's how I've kind of feel like we felt like we were compelled into this because people wanted more and kept ordering more essentially. And then I just kept doubling down on it.
That's awesome. And look, that's the way to do it, right? And you started like very honestly and very legitimately like one person company, like straight up, like no one gets to look at you guys and your size now and be like, okay, well, he had an investor and started with 10 people and no, like you built it. Like it wasn't Hook like you at the beginning?
Yeah. Not that long ago, 8 years ago, it was just me in a little basement. And I like to tell the story. There's like a wall. It's like a 500 square foot basement that I shared with another freelancer. And as we started to get new offices in that thing, but there was a wall in the basement that was like, it was like water coming down and it looked like a rainforest cafe in there kind of. And then eventually, and one person on my team was like, no, we're not going to get another office. We don't need windows. We were in this basement, right? And one day we were at a trade show in Vegas, IBS, International Builder Show. And he's just sent us a clip of like the water just coming down on the computers, and they had to move the computers. So it like got worse in that basement, and then we had to move out. But I love thinking about that time in my life because it made me who I am, and it made us super scrappy and super resourceful.
Yeah, man. I mean, when you start that way, like I did, you never forget who you are. You know what I mean? Like even during the worst times when it feels like your entire business is like under assault, or, you know, your entire industry is under assault, like you never forget what you came from and frankly what you're capable of doing, you know? It's wild.
Exactly.
And so you came from like very humble beginnings. You know, I would say Hook is one of the better trusted names in especially the roofing, because that's always been your bread and butter, especially the roofing marketing. But one of the ways you've kind of gotten there is through like content creation. You know, you've done some of that yourself. You've encouraged your customers to do that, right? So like, let's dispel the early myths, right? If I'm a roofer sitting home listening right now, or really any public adjuster, attorney, contractor, and I'm like, look, Tim, I would start doing content. I would start doing those things. But let me tell you what, I don't want to buy an expensive camera. Like I don't have the money for all these microphones and these lights. Like talk to me like real talk. What do you really need to get started?
Yeah, I think it's confusing now because we start to look a little bit nicer, right? You got the light in the back. I got the light in the back. Yeah, we know what we're doing, but you really only need like a little DJI like lav mic thing to like level it up to the point where it's like nicer than most people's stuff. Or you just need to turn your phone around and do it. So for a long time there, I was literally just on walks. I was doing 75 hard or whatever, and I'm walking in my neighborhood, and I'm answering the questions that prospects have. I'm answering the things that maybe even some agency, like, you know, as I'm early, you know, trying to help other people earlier than me, you know, so I answer questions for people, and I would just walk and do those videos, sometimes live, sometimes I'd record them, put them on YouTube. Like very few of those got a lot of views, but what it does do is it creates this trust with the audience you do have and the friends you do have and the people in the industry that you're connecting with, so that they feel comfortable doing business with you and referring you. And that's, to me, simply put, all we're really trying to do is to create this rapport through a digital medium. And video is powerful. I mean, I think we take it for granted because a lot of us are doing it, but it's so powerful. And if you're not doing it, you're kind of just missing out on this rapport building superpower in your hand. You know it's powerful because if you send a prospect a video, like you're trying to show them something on the roof or something, and you video it real quick, they kind of get the whole picture. They can take action on that. They can sign the proposal or whatever we need to get them to do. So you give people more information quicker through video than any other format, besides just like walking them up on their roof, right? So it's kind of one of those things that everybody takes for granted, but it's so powerful. And I think that's even a great place to start, is just send videos to prospects. Take videos on your phone, send them to prospects. If you haven't done any yet, start there. And then every once in a while, I'll be like, you know what? That video's pretty good. Let me just post that on the internet.
And then, you know, one of the things about that, so yeah, I still remember some of those videos you were posting because you're literally walking. Like it was not ever going to win an award for best production quality because you're literally walking down the street, right?
Yeah.
But you were doing 75 hard, you're working on yourself, but you got this time while you got to be moving outside, you know? So you're using that time to just like get content ready and get it up. And yeah, you made the comment about the light, like so true, but I don't know about you, but like this little neon light back here, the front light, like that's just because someone in our office was like, you should do this. It's not because a person watching the podcast was like, I can't take this podcast seriously until you have a neon light behind you. Like just get the content up, bro. No one cares, you know?
Yeah, and they're cheap. Like if you want to, right? Like if you wanted to go this route, like this was like probably like $700 from China. Maybe it'd be like, you know, $2,500 now, but
yeah, I guess we gotta wait till he cuts a deal.
Yeah. We need
but yeah, like
no
one ever was like, you need these things. And we just kind of were like, oh, it'd look cool. It'd be fun. Like I've done enough of these now that I feel like it'll be fun to have something back there. But yeah, you don't need this crap like at all. And you know, prospect videos are so interesting, right? Like, I mean, things I think you can think about, like, I'm curious your thoughts. Like, it's I see a lot of roofers now being like, I should send a video to a prospect. So what do? They go on the roof, they take a video of them like grabbing a shingle or showing something, and they send it back. But you know what I never see? Like the roofer crouched by the hail damage being like, okay, hey, Miss Smith, let me just show you exactly what I'm looking at. You see this right there? You see how it's kind of shaped like this? That's concerning to me. Here, let me show you another couple of spots, but I found like 17 just in my quick look up here. Let me show you this. Like these shingles are really brittle. Like you can kind of do that, and you might post that online too. Like, let me show you one of my prospects, right? But take out her name because otherwise every roofer in the area.
Yeah, I was just out with this last year. I went to Habayaka Home Services, HVAC and plumbing and stuff, right? But they do that on every single unit and every single small repair. Like in this case, they're literally just changing out a really small part. And every single time they shoot the video just to basically prove that it got done. This is what it looks like before. This is what it looks like after, you know, in their process of actually like doing the work. And I think like, because there's not a service culture in roofing sometimes, like there's a little bit more of a sales culture, we kind of lose out on that. Like, let's just document. Let's document for the sake of the customer so that they feel super comfortable. Because what is marketing but really just trying to get trust with people at scale? Like, but in the sales process, we're just getting trust with one person. And so that really there's a lot of overlap, because I really think of marketing as just sales at scale. And I think that the ability to get trust from one homeowner, that skill all applies as marketing. It's just a lot of roofing business owners and salespeople don't flip it out, right? Like, so they're good at getting that trust in person with the homeowner, but they never do that to the camera. The same thing that they do to Miss Jones in the house. They're really good at that, but they don't put themselves, they look crazy on camera because they don't practice. So they're like, oh, like totally different person. Because you know that guy's charismatic as hell when he's in with Miss Jones. So we just got to try to get more of that energy that's like just relaxed, friendly, and funny, and, you know, solution oriented on video. And that's why I always tell people to scale their best closer. Don't go to the intern. Don't go to the guy who hasn't sold anything in 2 months and try to flip him into a marketing guy. I know that's what y'all do too. You tell me you haven't tried that before. And get the best closer on camera. If it's you still, fine. Get on camera. Spend a little bit of time every month. But a lot of times we're starting to get these other salespeople that are excellent, and get that guy on camera or gal.
Okay, so kind of also along those lines, like talking about getting your best guy in front of camera, like if you're uncomfortable, there's fixes to that, right? Like things like, you know, just get a friend or a spouse or whoever you're comfortable with, like to hold the camera while you talk to them. Like if you can't sell to a real person, like you shouldn't be in this industry at all. So instead of focusing on selling to an iPhone, maybe sell to the person. I mean, that's another option, right?
Oh yeah, totally. And I mean, it takes practice no matter what. If you look back at the ones that are actually at the very beginning when I was doing this, I don't know, I look crazy. I look like I'm like, think it's super important that I'm on camera. Like, and that's what we do. We kind of revert to that. Like, this must be really important. No, you just got to learn to just be yourself. That's the hardest part, is just learning to be yourself, because so many of you are so charismatic. And so it takes practice to just kind of be yourself like you are in the home.
For sure. And I think that's really hard. But, you know, kind of around that, like, you say you looked crazy, but it was working for you. You were getting engagement. So like that's probably like your internal dialogue, right? Just being like
Yeah.
you being the perfectionist that you are and the professional marketer that you are, being like, like I know I don't come across that way. I know I don't sound that way. I know I don't look that way, but like no one else was saying that shit to you, right? They were hiring you. They were literally calling you and starting to hire you. I mean, because I saw you getting conversions from the content you had.
Yeah. Yeah. So put it out anyways, I guess is what we're kind of getting at here. Like if you feel like you look crazy, put it out anyways. Like if you don't cringe a little bit, you're not trying hard enough, you know? So it's okay. Embrace the cringe, put it out anyways. That's how I feel. And just do it, right? Like, cause you need to, cause the people think that cause we're talking about this, you have to put out the first 10 videos and then like your 11th one is going to pop. We're talking about, I've put out 3,000 videos. Like if you think in that scale and you think long-term about this, it's worth getting better about it. And I have built a business that is doing very well. And I think I've helped a lot of people with the content. And that's another thing. You're helping people. So what do you believe about this stuff in your core? Are you trying to help people? That's going to be more motivating to you if it aligns with your values and your beliefs about what you're trying to do for homeowners or the community or what have you. So I think it's like tapping into that mission so that you feel motivated to do this, because you can help a lot more people if you just do it.
So you're tapping into your mission, you're kind of being honest. Like what other things can you do to kind of create a content that will like connect with your target audience, whether that's like a referral or a prospect or whatever?
Well, I didn't start with this. When I started, I didn't have much of a framework at all. It was just like whatever was like newsworthy that related to what I was doing. Whatever I was interested in personally, I was just making videos about that. But I've since adopted a framework called They Ask You Answer by Marcus Sheridan is the book. If you want to go check it out, They Ask You Answer. And one of the main things is that you essentially capture every objection that you have or the most common questions in the sales process. And it's fairly simple. It's essentially, you could just capture those in like a Google sheet, right? And just write them down. And so you kind of teach yourself to get excited when you hear an objection, because then you go put that on the sheet. And that's now awesome. with our team, it's such a habit. We talk about it every single week in the sales and marketing kickoff for the week or whatever. We just say, hey, what objections? Why did anyone go with another one of our competitors? Why did they go with them? That type of thing. We have those discussions, and then we make content around those things. Like it's just our habit. But like the first time we did this, we really just focused, let's say the first 7 questions, right? And you can make as nice of videos as you're capable of on those 7 top questions, and then you can embed them around your website. But it's really getting into this mindset of like video as sales enablement, not just marketing. Because marketing is like, all right, we need to go viral. Let's get really good at like hooks and things that grab people's attention. Everyone's kind of looking over their shoulder. Oh, how many views you get on that video? How many, have you gone viral yet? But really, have you ever heard a roofer that went viral that like his business exploded? Or is it mostly just glamour metrics? And so to me, if we think about it as sales enablement, whereas we're making these videos that answer the top objections that people have in the sales process, we're walking through our clear process and making it super simple. So if somebody's already on your website, they're seeing this question of like, how do you deal with insurance claims? Or what should I do? How much involvement should my roofing company have in my insurance claim? Or when should I call out the roofer versus my insurance company? Or, at this point, when you answer those questions, which are the key questions that people have in the sales process, then you have an opportunity, one, to embed it in the website, make it super obvious and like embed them around. By the way, not a lot of people are doing this. So if you're looking for examples, you might be a pioneer if you actually do it. We do it on our website, but not a lot of roofing companies do it. It's hard for us to get people to do this. But the other one is you can text people those videos now when they have that question. So not only are you just doing a little type out, but you can text them that video. And I even have a like macros set up in my phone. If you go into an iPhone, and there's ways to do this on a Android as well, but under general and keyboard, you can do text replacement, general keyboard text replacement. And I have like a bunch of macros there with all, it's like dot ask for review, dot leads, dot referred, dot price. Like, and I have videos in those macros. So anytime I think that somebody has a price objection or whatever, I can dot price, talks about why. It gives some of our basic parameters around price. And then you can put the link to the video about why we might be more expensive than some other companies, because no one wants to pay for more when they're not actually getting more. So here's how we actually do more than a lot of people, and that's why we're priced at the way we're priced. And another big thing from the They Ask You Answer framework is that you should talk about price more than you think, because we're taking all of that possible objection stuff. The best salespeople I know resolve all the objections, and there's not even objections anymore because they know what's going to come. They close those doors. They're going down the hallway. There's an objection there, and they're closing them. So by the time they get to the end of the hallway, the homeowner doesn't even have one left. And I think price is a big one that they're so scared to talk about, that we're so scared. It doesn't mean you have to say, all right, your roof's going to be $18,000, blah, blah, blah. No, it just says, this is what drives up the cost. This is what drives down the cost. This is how we do things different. And you're really getting a ton of value for our price. These are the things that we do that are above and beyond compared to the other companies. So the objections thing, top questions in the sales process, and talking about price and video. And I know that talking about price and video one is, most people are not going to do that. They're too scared. But once you get into this, in my experience, because we've done this for ourselves, it makes sales a lot easier. And I want to make sales as easy as possible because I'm trying to hire salespeople on my team, and I don't want them to have to be that good. I don't want to have to pay them an extreme exorbitant number because they're some master ninja salesperson. I want to make a system that makes it super easy for them to sell so that I can retain some more of that money.
I mean, and look, I'm smiling the whole time you're saying this because, like, as a lawyer, our life cycle is a little bit different. Candidly, the sell is really easy. By the time they come to us, they're furious. They've been screwed over so many times by the insurance company, right? But then we have this like relationship maintenance, because usually it's bad enough that it's not going to resolve in, really, really fast. We do have some clients, we're lucky, we get the claim paid, get out. But a lot of clients that come to us, they've been fighting for a year to no avail. So they're going to be with us for a minute, And that's when the objections actually start. They start like post-relationship. Well, how long is this going to take? Well, what do you have to do? Well, why is your fee so high after all? Like, what are you actually doing, right? Mm-hmm. Same thing. We have videos, like videos on videos on videos that our staff can text the client of me usually, but sometimes other lawyers in the office being like, let me tell you what's actually happening in your case. Like, not custom for them. We also will do custom videos. Like, if you're a client, you'll get a video from me. Hey, Tim, I just wanted to let you know, this is what's going on your case. Thank you for trusting us, right? But we have like, the more you do this and you can, and same thing, you go to our website, we got them embedded. How many law firms are embedding on their website videos? They're embedding a marketing video, but how many of them are embedding videos about what they actually do and how it works, right? Like, get some videos up, do this. It's so easy and it's so cheap. Like, just do it. And
I should say, you have a beautiful website. Yeah. You have a beautiful website for a law firm. Unusually good.
It took us a while to find someone that was not frustrating to work with. Which actually
Yeah.
does take me to my next topic, which is like websites, marketing. I mean, this is your bread and butter, dude. This is like what you do. Like,
Yeah.
what do you think they should be looking for? You know, any roofing company at home, like you're looking for someone to help you with full marketing. What kind of quality should they look for?
Yeah, I think one thing is that most agencies don't get contractors. They don't understand the industry enough, and so they're frustrating to deal with. I don't want to always be the guy to call out the clowns. And in fact, it does me no it gives me no benefit to say anything negative about my competitors, but I think the biggest one is to know that you're owning your marketing in every way, shape, and form. Own your website, your domain, get admin access to everything, including your ads account. Own your accounts. That's the biggest one that's like a dangerous red flag if they don't. And there are companies out there, several of them operating with quantity of clients that don't do that. And I'd say that they're unusual, or I hope that they're unusual. So they should know your industry. I think that it's ideal that they're really kind of specialized in your industry and can not learn your business through you, but they already kind of know what's coming. You know, like it's also good to know the industry, because if you come to our company and you say the same thing the last 10 roofers said about what their secret sauce is, we might actually push back a little bit and say, hey, can we come up with something a little bit more unique than that? Right? So it's like knowing what's unusual and trying to create a little bit of, you want somebody that can try to help you create a competitive advantage. And I think knowing the industry helps you do that. Knowing the industry helps you know what's already been done 20 times before and like, how can we push? But even then, you know, knowing the industry is probably the biggest one. Owning your marketing is huge. And then knowing your numbers. Knowing your numbers is a lot of work. Some roofers, particularly under the 3 to 5 mark, are not going to be as sophisticated on this level. And I think we have to run, not walk, to try to understand our numbers better and to try to get clarity on them. And choosing an agency is partly around like somebody you can really trust. Like, are they known for doing the right thing? Because there are a lot of agencies that can cloud the numbers or like try to like cover it up or like change the dashboard. I mean, this really happens. And your goal is to find somebody that's going to tell you when it sucks before you tell them, you know, because it's going to suck. If you worked with them for a couple of years, there's going to be a point. Every single agency, including mine, there will be a moment where it's like, fuck, we need more leads for real. Like, what is going on? Why is it broken? Why is it $400 a lead or whatever? And we're like, well, this is what it is. It's February. You're in New York. You know, we can't. This is a super competitive market. Like, these are the real like parameters. We're up against a wall. Whatever it is, like, there's going to be moments like, but they need to be able to tell you what's actually going on and not just be like, oh no, it should be good. You got, 300 more keywords. So there's like an element of like speaking contractor, which is leads focused, and then an element of somebody who would tell you when it's messed up and like, this is what we're doing to fix it, right? That's how we get trust with our clients, and how you should look for somebody like that will tell you when it's messed up. So I think that those are things to ask about. Own your marketing. Do you want them to know your industry? You want to know your numbers, clarity on dashboard and deliverables. So clarity on like, ideally, what's being done every month. Hey, what are you doing for me every single month? You could go ask your agency that right now. Get clarity on that, because then you can kind of see, oh, well, no wonder we're not getting results. We only are putting out one blog a month, or whatever. And then clarity on leads, which is, hey, what leads are, coming from Google organic, paid, or whatever marketing channels you're doing, and then what's closing from those channels. So we walk people through and actually talk about what closed, and we kind of hold them a little bit accountable. Like, well, you know, you got 20 closable deals here and there's one closed. This isn't our fault. This is an operations problem. And there are actually a lot of that. That's a lot of, it's kind of partly what's tough about this industry is there is a lot of people not not holding themselves accountable to close deals.
I always
and
say
not,
that.
like, looking at their numbers really closely. Yeah.
A really good agency will tell you some things you really don't want to hear, which is usually that your intake or your sales suck. But they can't do it in like a don't blame us, we're not doing it. Like they have to show you those numbers.
No, I know, exactly.
Here's how many leads we got. This many were qualified.
Yeah.
You know, unless you're going to tell me they weren't qualified and I need to know why, you know?
Yeah.
But like a really good agency is going to come to you and be like, do you think you might want to work on this? Because I feel like we left a lot of money on the table this month.
Yeah, the difference is in one of those is just saying, hey, it might be your fault. And one of those saying, these are the details. Let's look closer at them. How could we improve? If we really want to get to your goal, we're going to have to move one of these two things. And, you know, it's really looking at the details. That's the difference. The difference is because you're right. There's shitty agencies out there that go, it's your fault, and give you no more clarity. I think a good agency is it's uncomfortable no matter what, by the way. But a good agency is going to say, this is specifically what's going on. Is there any way, you know, let's look at these details.
No, for sure. And I couldn't agree more, man. Oh man, we are almost out of time, Tim, but we did get to cover videos. We did get to cover agencies. So, a little bit, I guess. But yeah, guys, I can't reiterate enough, like when you're working with an agency, like the advice that Tim gave is 100% correct. And I'll say it because he didn't. I'm not going to call out any competitors or anything, but there are agencies in all fields, roofing, industry, contracting, and legal, where they own everything, which means you leave, your website comes down. You go to run your own Google AdWords and you have no search, you have no ad history whatsoever. You want to run Facebook ads. It wasn't even your pixel on the web page. So you've got no history, you've got no target audience. And the second you leave that agency, you lose everything you had, which means you were just renting your entire marketing, essentially. You didn't own a thing. You don't even own the logo that they created for you if they did one. So yeah, definitely he's being nice. He won't say it, but ask that very pointed question of your agency, because if they stop doing a good job for you one day, you will have to start over from the ground up. And that sucks. And I get so many calls from roofing companies like all year who are complaining that happened to them. And they want to like know if they can sue. And I'm like, probably not, man, because it's kind of what you agreed to, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's the important point is like they put it in the contract. You need to look at the contract. It's the rules of the game, right? And if the game is slanted in their favor and it's a little fucked up, we agreed to those rules. It doesn't mean that they're good people. It means they've got us, unfortunately. And yeah, that sucks. I wish I could make everyone know this, and it's really hard because new people fall for it all the time.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate your time. You've been great. Before you do go, though, Tim, would you tell everyone what it means to you to level up?
Yeah, to level up, it means to not take when you have setbacks happen as a blessing or a curse. To level up means you take things as a challenge, and that every single issue, problem that comes up could be something that ends up being a very good thing for you if you handle it in a certain way. Because when challenges happen, because they're going to, and they're going to be crazy, this week, next week, and the week after that, it's like, how am I going to handle this? And the better we get at handling it and using it to level up every single one, the more sturdy we become.
I could not agree more. That's amazing. Tim, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Dude, thanks for having me.
Again, I'd like to thank Tim Brown for joining us on the show. He said the most interesting thing, which is the marketing is just sales at scale. If we kind of took that mindset, really put out content as if it was sales, really focused on our prospects, giving them information they needed, and then responsibly handled our marketing, knowing our numbers, and making sure we really knew what was going on, we'd be in a much better place, wouldn't we? Follow us on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast player.